Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I am Megan Hardy. I am your host and also the founder of Fitness Uncharted, which is a women's health and fitness coaching company designed to help women lose body fat, build lean muscle, improve their metabolisms, and feel empowered on their health and fitness journeys. And today I'm going to be talking about why most people never achieve the body that they want. I know that's kind of like a Debbie Downer, womp womp, but I will also give you some tips on how to not be that person so that you can actually achieve the body that you want and maintain it. And research shows you guys that the majority of people, some experts say even up to 95%, will gain back most of the weight that they lose while dieting and will even end up weighing more than before. So if you're listening to this and you're like, yep, that's me, don't feel bad. You are in a large majority that also ends up, gaining weight back or not able to maintain a certain body composition. And this is something that I just want to kind of take the pressure off of you, because diets that are out there are not really meant for you to be able to maintain. They're not very sustainable. So it's no wonder why we can't maintain certain diets or certain body compositions when we're not given the tools for it to actually be sustainable. And in my field of work as a fitness and nutrition coach, I see and talk to so many people who try all the fad diets and fail all the diets, and they may lose weight, so they're like, oh yeah, it worked, but I'm like, did it really work if you gain the weight back? Right? So they may lose some weight, or I have talked to some competitors who they're stage ready, so they're super lean, super shredded, and ready to compete in a show, but then they crash and burn hard afterwards. So it's like, what is that missing link? What's that thing that is where, like, even if someone can get into extremely lean, extremely fit shape and not able to maintain it, the pendulum swings to the totally opposite end after the show. Like, what is that? Why can't we maintain a certain fitness level and have the body that we want? And unfortunately, a large majority of the people that I talk to, they have tried all the diets before they come to me ready to make a real sustainable lifestyle change. And, because sustainable is not, it's not always the most sexy, right? Like, what sounds sexier? Hey, let's get sustainable results that are going to take you longer. Or, hey, here's a shot that you can inject in your butt and lose weight in the next, 21 days, right? So which one's sexier? Okay. So I understand it. But what I have found is that most people, um, you know, have probably, like, if they don't really have an issue losing weight, is what I find is, like, most people can lose weight. They can find a way to lose weight. You can do 1,000-calorie diet. You can go get some, semaglutide shots. You can go do, no carbs, whatever. You can lose weight, right? Like, a lot of us know how to lose weight. The problem is that most people do not know how to maintain it. And if your goal is not even weight loss, maybe your goal is body recomposition. Well, there's things that you could do to get in really lean, shredded shape, but you might develop some eating disorders or eating, disorder tendencies, or you might be like completely miserable and have no social life, right? So it's like, how do we get into better shape and body composition and health without giving up everything else? And these people, they're never really able to achieve their ideal body composition. And that's why today I want to talk about, I'm going to show you 3 reasons why that happens, or why that can happen. So the reason why most people will never achieve the body that they want is, number 1, because of the dieting mindset. So I'll just give you an example. I actually had a client who signed up. This was like many months ago now. But something she said really stuck out to me. She said, this has to work. When she signed up, she was like, girl, I'm just so miserable. Like, oh, like, I feel so awful. Like, this has to work. And she had signed up at that time for one of our 6-month programs. And, she was giving it this finite, short amount of time to quote unquote work, instead of looking at it as a lifestyle and a journey. And, if you want quick results, they probably won't be super sustainable. And even 6 months, it just depends on perspective, but that's not that much time. If you think about it, that's 24 weeks, you guys. So my question to her, I was like, hey, I was like, I just want to shift your mindset a little bit here, because this will work. It may just take longer than 6 months for you to get to some end result. And truth be told, even myself personally, I still haven't reached the end. It's a constant, continual growth journey for me. I'm not like, I don't feel like I've quote unquote made it. Like it's still a process and a journey. So I was like, let's shift the mindset from this quote unquote has to work, like it's some other diet, to let's shift it to the lifestyle mentality of like, okay, I will make progress in the next 6 months, but it's not a matter of it working or not working. I'm just going to be moving in the right direction. So anyone who's come from that dieting mindset or mentality, I think a lot of us sign up for programs or diets and things like that. And we have this expectation in our mind of, okay, I just signed up for a 6-month program. I got to get to my end result in that 6-month time frame. Totally chuck that to the side. Okay. Like chuck it out the freaking window and change that mindset to a lifestyle mindset, whether you're signing up for a program, whether you're signing up for coaching or a freaking diet. Like, don't look at it as a short-term diet, look at it as a lifestyle. And so then that's the next question that, begs to ask that question of, can you maintain this as a lifestyle? Which a large majority of the fad diets out there aren't sustainable as a lifestyle. So I would say, totally abort that mission and go find something that is actually sustainable, save yourself the time. But we've got to shift from the dieting mindset to more of a lifestyle mindset. So that is number one. That is something that I run into often in a conversation I am often having with clients as well about shifting, because what we do with our coaching is so very different than the dieting mentality or the dieting mindset. But that is what diet culture has ingrained in us. So it really actually takes a conscientious effort to shift our mindset to lifestyle and to make this really an identity for us and something that we're going to do for the rest of our life, not just something that we're doing for a 8-week, 12-week, 24-week time frame, something that really becomes a part of us and a part of our life. So that's tip number one. Got to get out of the dieting mindset. And then number two is that the reason why most people won't achieve the body that they want is because they are thinking short term. Again, diet culture has conditioned us for quick results. And, quick results, that's not healthy, and sustainable results don't happen super quickly. You will see, especially if you're someone who is newer to training or newer to eating healthy food at all, like you will have kind of those like newbie gains is what we call them. So someone who like hasn't done any strength training before, when they get started, they're going to be the people who have those like insane 6-week progress pictures that you're like, holy crap, how did that happen for them? And you're the person over here that's been training for 3+ years. And you're like, it takes me like 8 months to see any changes, which is kind of dramatic. You guys, you will see progress and changes earlier than that, even if you've been training a while. But you get my point is, it takes longer for most people. And so we're thinking way too short term. And as the GOAT, Alex Hormozy he says that we need to extend our time horizon. And what that just really means, you guys, is we need to push out our expectations of how long something is going to take. And we need to accept delayed gratification. The longer that you can wait to see results, the more successful you will become. And I will say that again, the longer that you can wait to see results, the longer that you can be patient and persistent before you see results, the more successful you will become. And this applies not only to your fitness, but this applies like to your business. This applies to your relationships. This applies to life in general. The most successful people, they think in years, not months, and certainly not weeks. As soon as I hear someone, if I'm in conversation with someone and I hear them talking about their 5-year business plan or their, 2-year fitness goal, I'm like, oh yeah, I know they are going to be successful. This is a successful person right here, because they're not talking about, oh, I have this cruise coming up in 5 weeks. Like, I've got to get ready for it. I'm like, oh, that person's going to crash and burn. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Here goes the yo-yo. That's not sustainable. That person's not going to be successful long-term. Or the person who's like, I have a wedding in 2 months. I've got to like crash diet to get there. I'm like, you might get to a certain weight goal or something by your wedding date, but that weight's going to pile back on after. Like, I would put money on it, because what you did, the means that you use to get there we're not sustainable. And so the people instead who are thinking long term and are embracing that delayed gratification, they are always the most successful. They know it's going to take more time. And also, a part of the reason why they're more successful is because if you expect something to take longer, you're not disappointed when it doesn't happen sooner, right? Like, why do we expect our weight loss or body composition goals to be so fast? It's literally changing our body and physiology, you guys. Like, our body has got to like recompose itself, right? Like body recomposition. And yet we want it to be so fast. And then there's other things in life that we just expect to take longer, right? We expect it takes 4 years to get a degree. When you go to school, it's not going to take you 8 weeks, right? We already assume for 4 years, to get an undergrad degree. And so we're not upset about it when it does, right? We need to apply that same principle to our fitness journey. Because if everyone, seriously, this would change the whole trajectory of fitness. If everyone thought, oh, I'm going to get my 4-year fitness degree, AKA I'm going to work on my body for the next 4 years without giving up when things get hard, when I fail a test or, I fail an exam or whatever, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep improving my grades. If we looked at it like that instead of these quick short-term fixes, I don't think we would have the obesity like epidemic that we have right now. Like people would be so much healthier if we would delay gratification. So that is point number 2 on why most people never achieve the body that they want. And number 3 is most people are outcome obsessed. So I actually heard this, I don't remember where I saw it. I'd give credit if I could, but a quote someone said was, most failure in fitness comes from people who are outcome obsessed. The people who get results are process obsessed. So most people, and think about it for yourself, are you outcome obsessed? Are you focused on, oh my gosh, how much weight did I lose? Oh my gosh, my progress pictures don't show enough changes. Oh my gosh, I didn't lose enough inches. Like, oh my gosh, like my body, like blah, 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 right? Are you outcome obsessed? Or are you process obsessed? And I will say, like, my clients who are only focused on the scale and their body, they almost always give up too soon. When they're the ones that are like, crying over progress pictures or like focused on that scale number, just like hyper focused on it, they always give up too soon. And that's also why they hired a coach to help them, get through those rough patches and get back on track when things get tough. Because I know a lot of people, they know themselves and they're like, hey, Megan, I need you to help me when things get rough because I've been at this game long enough and I know the boat is going to get rocky. And I know that I'm going to need the encouragement to push through when I'm not, quote unquote, seeing the changes as fast as I, quote unquote, think I should, right? That's another thing. If you ever find yourself going, oh, I should be losing weight faster than this, says who? Says what? That's diet culture, my friend. Like, says who? Like, I should be losing weight faster than this. I should be seeing more results faster than this. Says who? Says freaking who? But it's my clients who are the ones who are process focused that actually achieve the result that they want. So my clients who are the ones who are focusing on like setting new PRs in the gym, they're maxing out their weight and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so strong. They're falling in love with the process. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm loving eating high protein and nutritious foods because I feel amazing. Like, I love this. Or they're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm actually making time for myself for sleep and for walks, and it feels amazing. My mental health's improved. Like, I'm loving this process. Those are the clients who are always the most successful. And all of the women that I've worked with, like the ones who are more process obsessed instead of outcome obsessed, what's funny is that they always end up getting the results and the body that they want as a byproduct of being process obsessed, versus if they were outcome obsessed and thinking short term, they probably would have given up too soon. So don't be outcome obsessed. So what we need to do instead to wrap that all up into a nice, pretty bow is we need to switch our dieting mindset to a lifestyle mindset. Tip number 1, turn it into a lifestyle. You need to become the person who has the body that you want. That's going to require you to act and to think differently than you are today. So I want you to literally think, if you have an actual person in mind, or if even just of what yourself would look like in that healthy, fit state that you want to be in, what does that woman do day to day? What are her actions? What is her lifestyle like? I want you to actually think of that person and then think, in order to maintain that, what is that woman? How does she act? How does she think? You are going to have to be intentional with this, and you're going to have to intentionally change your actions and your thoughts if you want the results. And that's really going to require some identity shifts to happen to you guys. Like, if you don't believe yourself to be that person, if you don't think you ever can, you're not going to be. It's going to require some conscientious and intentional identity shifts. And so think of that person who has the body that you want. What does their weekly and daily routine look like? Like, strive to implement those actions. And then if you can't, or, aren't willing to do that work, or you're not able to implement those actions, or you're not willing to, then you may need to level set your expectations. So if you want a certain, physique or shape or whatever, and you're like, not willing to, or you're just like, I can't, you might just need to level set your expectation for yourself so that you don't always feel defeated. Right. And this is where also, you guys, taking ownership is so, so, so important. That's another tip. Actually, that should have thrown that in there as a fourth tip. But taking ownership versus blame. If you blame, whether it's blaming yourself for lack of results or lack of action or lack of whatever, or if you're blaming other people, that's probably, I don't know which is more dangerous, blaming other people and circumstances. Probably if you're blaming the fact that you don't have enough time, you're blaming your spouse because they're not supportive, you're blaming the kids because they take up so much of your time, like you're blaming other people or circumstances, or you're blaming yourself, you're just creating this like inner guilt. That's not going to help you reach your results, and it's not going to help you better yourself. What we need to do is we need to take ownership. There is a huge difference between blaming ourselves and taking ownership. When we take ownership, we are no longer the victim. We actually have the power to do something about it. So that's what we need to do, is we need to take ownership and go like, okay, why did this not go according to plan? And then take the emotion out of it. Like, take the emotion of, I'm such a failure. I'll always tell myself I'm going to meal prep and then I don't. Like, I told myself I was going to work out 3 times this week. I only got 2. Like, stop, take the emotion out of it. Go, okay, why did that happen? Why did I miss my 3rd workout this week? And how can I improve for next week? How can I become 1% better for next week or for tomorrow, right? Like, if you ate the whole bag of cookies, okay, why did that just happen? And how can I do better tomorrow? I've had this circumstance come up for me recently where I ate like 12 Dove chocolates the other night. And I was like, okay, why did I do that? And how can I do better tomorrow? Right. So take that ownership and, take ownership of your life, make it that lifestyle mindset. And then also, we need to embrace delayed gratification and think long-term. We need to push out that time horizon on when we expect results. If you can push out the time horizon and think long-term, you're not as likely to feel defeated and feel like you're not where you quote unquote should be, which is just going to help you stick with it and be consistent. And lastly, we need to become obsessed with the process. Eating nutritious foods, finding healthy, yummy recipes, feeling strong in your workouts, like going on relaxing walks in the evening. Like, the more you fall in love with the process, the more successful you will be, because the more consistent you will be. If you're doing something that you love doing and you're loving the process, it would make sense that you do more of it, right? And you stay more consistent with it. So there you have it, you guys. Short and sweet. Those are the top reasons that most people don't achieve the body that they want. And notice that I didn't say anything about not having enough time in the day, or genetics, or laziness. All those, like, those things can certainly impact your results too. That's not why most people fail. Most people fail and never achieve the body that they want because they get discouraged and they give up too soon. Do not let that be you. Build up your perseverance and resilience so that you can stand with the 1% who do actually achieve and maintain a high level of health and fitness. Like, the fact that you're even listening to this podcast to the very end tells me that you are in the 1% trying to achieve something better for yourself. So props to you, my friend. Keep going. You got this.